Welcome to SA News Weekly News Update. We'll cover the top stories from across the United States, important developments worldwide, and new insights from the world of health and science.
In a significant policy shift this week, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, finalized a rule that relaxes several methane emission standards for the oil and natural gas industry. This decision revises the 2024 Clean Air Act regulations, specifically targeting the requirements for flaring and vent gas monitoring. The new rule extends the allowed time for temporary flaring of associated gas during emergency situations from 24 hours to 72 hours. Furthermore, it provides additional flexibility for operators facing extreme inclement weather or supply chain disruptions, allowing them to exceed the 72-hour window under specific conditions. The EPA stated that these adjustments are intended to provide regulatory certainty and operational flexibility for American energy producers. Economically, the agency estimates the move will save the industry approximately $2.5 billion over the next 15 years by reducing compliance costs. This includes a reduction in the number of required nitrogen heating value (NHV) tests by roughly 141,000 per year. While industry advocates welcome the reduced overhead, environmental groups have expressed concerns regarding the impact on methane, a potent greenhouse gas. The EPA's announcement did not include a new legal framework for how these changes align with broader carbon reduction goals, focusing instead on the practicalities of field operations and cost-saving measures for domestic energy. In a move that reflects growing concern over environmental exposure and long-term health risks, the United States Department of Health and Human Services has announced a $144 million research initiative aimed at understanding the presence and impact of microplastics in the human body. The program, titled STOMP, Systematic Targeting of Microplastics, marks one of the most comprehensive federal efforts to address a problem that has steadily gained attention among scientists but has remained largely outside mainstream headlines. Microplastics, which are tiny fragments of plastic less than 5 millimeters in size, have been detected in a wide range of everyday items, including food, drinking water, and even the air. Over time, these particles have been found accumulating in human organs, raising questions about potential links to inflammation, hormonal disruption, and other health conditions. The initiative will unfold in two phases. The first phase focuses on building standardized methods to detect and measure microplastics within the human body. Researchers aim to develop reliable testing systems that can quantify exposure levels and identify which types of plastics pose the greatest biological risk. This step is considered essential, as current research lacks consistent benchmarks and comparable data. The second phase will explore potential methods to remove microplastics from the body. While still in early stages, the approach may involve adapting techniques used in environmental cleanup and pharmaceutical sciences. At present, there is no established method for reducing microplastic accumulation in humans. The announcement signals a shift toward addressing environmental health issues at a biological level, bridging the gap between pollution research and medical science. As studies begin, the program is expected to shape future policies on manufacturing, food safety, and public health awareness.
Recent scientific findings indicate that efforts to reduce air pollution in China over the past decade have had unintended effects on weather patterns in the Arctic. The research suggests that cleaner air, while beneficial for public health, has contributed to changes in atmospheric dynamics that influence storm activity in polar regions. China has implemented large-scale measures to cut emissions, leading to a significant decline in airborne pollutants such as aerosols. These particles previously played a role in reflecting sunlight and influencing cloud formation. As their levels decrease, more solar energy reaches the Earth's surface, subtly altering temperature gradients and atmospheric circulation. One observed outcome is a reduction in certain storm systems that historically contributed to the melting of Arctic sea ice. While this may appear beneficial in slowing ice loss, scientists note that the broader picture is more complex. The reduction in pollution has also revealed the underlying extent of global warming, which continues to drive long-term environmental change. The findings highlight the interconnected nature of environmental systems, where actions in one region can produce ripple effects across the globe. They also illustrate the challenges of balancing immediate public health improvements with long-term climate dynamics.
A new study has demonstrated a potential pathway toward curing type 1 diabetes, at least in laboratory mice, offering a development that could influence future medical research in humans. Scientists involved in the study report that they were able to effectively reverse the condition by creating a modified immune system that no longer attacks insulin-producing cells. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system mistakenly destroys pancreatic cells responsible for producing insulin. Current treatments rely on lifelong insulin therapy as there is no widely available cure. In this research, scientists introduced a hybrid immune system that blends elements of the original immune response with newly engineered components. This approach allowed the body to tolerate insulin-producing cells rather than attacking them. As a result, the mice were able to regulate blood sugar levels without external insulin. While the findings are still in early stages and limited to animal models, they represent a significant step forward in understanding how immune systems can be retrained. Translating these results into human treatments will require extensive testing to ensure safety and effectiveness. The study also raises broader possibilities for treating other autoimmune diseases by modifying immune responses rather than suppressing them entirely. If successful, such approaches could reduce the need for long-term medication and improve quality of life for patients. Researchers emphasize that human application may take years, but the results provide a new direction for diabetes research. As further studies build on these findings, the possibility of a long-term solution to type 1 diabetes moves closer to scientific reality. Following a decisive ruling by the Punjab and Haryana High Court earlier this week, Sant Rampalji Maharaj was officially released from incarceration today. His exit marks the conclusion of nearly 12 years of legal proceedings stemming from the 2014 Barwala incident. Upon his release, he traveled to the Satlak Ashram in Sri Dhananadam, where he was met by a large gathering of followers. Shortly after his arrival, he delivered his first recorded message to his supporters, which was broadcast across his official media channels. In his brief but pointed address, the spiritual leader framed his long legal journey and time in prison as a war against ignorance, declaring that the struggle had been won. He emphasized the principle of paramarth, selfless service, as the highest duty, and reflected on the sacrifices required for a spiritual path, stating that a true devotee must be prepared to surrender body, mind, and spirit to the divine. He appeared composed, telling his followers that the perceived dangers of the past are over and that a new phase of global engagement is beginning. A significant portion of his message focused on a commitment to humanitarianism. He stated that he has never intended harm to anyone and pledged to continue working for the welfare of all people until his final breath. He noted that the end of good is always good and celebrated what he called a hard-won victory after a long battle. The atmosphere at the ashram was described as jubilant, with the leader remarking on the increased enthusiasm and umang, passion, he observed in his followers despite his long absence. This release is expected to lead to a surge in activity across his various ashrams as they prepare for major upcoming spiritual congregations.
And that wraps up this week's bulletin. Thank you for joining SA News, and we'll see you next week. Truth that you want to know.